This is WWE superstar Seth Rollins, and you just heard.
Welcome everybody into the first episode of You Heard. Throughout the season, we're going to talk to celebrities, influencers, and athletes about their NFL fandom. Today, we've got five-time WWE World Champion Seth Freakin Rollins joining us. Seth, thanks so much for taking the time to join us today.
Thank you guys so much for having me. Excited to be here. Excited to talk some football, baby. Let's go.
Well, Seth is a huge Chicago Bears fan, so he's going to help us break down this upcoming preseason game against the Chicago Bears. And we'll start right there, Seth. You are a diehard Chicago Bears fan. We know you were raised not in Illinois, but how did this fandom begin for you?
Family tradition, man. We live in Iowa. I grew up in Davenport, Iowa. Anybody familiar with professional sports knows we ain't got a dog in the fight. We don't have a horse in the race. We got no pro sports teams in Iowa. But my grandfather grew up a Chicago Bears fan, a St. Louis Cardinals fan, actually. So I'm not all Chicago. I spread the wealth. I spread the love. But I have been a Bears fan from a young age. Had a small detour in the early 90s. Got a little fascinated with the 49ers, but came back around to the Chicago Bears and been a fan for a very long time.
You know, it's been a whirlwind for the Bears the last couple years, and hopefully this is the season where they can get it together. I mean, they have Caleb Williams on their team, Rome Odunze, 2 picks in the top 10. You don't come by that often. I want to go back to this love for Chicago. When the Bears lose, you tweet, "I hate football." When they win, you tweet, "I love football." Hopefully, these Chicago fans can be a little bit more excited this season, picking up a few more wins than last year. But how passionate is this love for the Bears because of these tweets?
I love football, right? I love football, and that's just my way of expressing to the world how I'm feeling that day, based on the performance of my football team. So it is a lot of love. It's been cool that it's caught on over the years. I think I've been doing it for quite a while now. So it's been awesome. I'm glad that everybody gets a good kick out of it. It's just meant for fun. My biggest fear is that I'm going to offend one of the players. I think that's one of my biggest things. Like, I don't want to hurt anybody's feelings. I'm just here on the sidelines. They're out there putting in the work. They're the one, putting their careers and their lives on the line every week. So I'm just happy that the people seem to dig it, that it seems to be catching on, and it's a good bit of fun every week during football season.
I mean, the fans roll with the punches. They feel the losses. They feel the wins. So it only makes sense knowing that you're such a big Chicago Bears fan. We have to talk about Caleb Williams and the offseason moves that happened in Chicago, because a lot of fans were split down the middle. They really loved Justin Fields. They were sad to see him go, but understanding, how can you give up the first pick in the NFL draft knowing a quarterback like Caleb Williams was available? Why were you a fan of the move to go pick up Caleb Williams and say bye to Justin Fields?
Well, man, so truth be told, I was not a fan of the move at first. I was very much a Justin Fields guy. But when you looked at the financial situation, he was going to be entering the last year of his rookie deal. You look at what these quarterbacks got paid in the offseason. You're going to be expecting top dollar on an extension at some point. And Justin was kind of in that area where he had done a lot, clearly shown with his skill set, what he's capable of. But there were some deficiencies in certain areas, whether that's on him, coaching staff, system, who knows. But again, first pick in the draft, 2 years running, had traded away the year before for a giant haul. And we're looking now at Caleb Williams, who's a prospect that's generational, seems to have a special skill set. How that will adapt to the NFL, we're about to find out here very soon. But in the end, you can't look backwards. You got to move forward. Caleb's my guy. We're going with him. Wish Justin nothing but the best in Pittsburgh. Hope he ends up with a starting job there at some point and a lot of success. Love to see him at the Super Bowl one of these years.
I know we didn't see Caleb Williams in the Hall of Fame game, but I think, NFL fans, Bills fans, I think we're excited to see this rookie quarterback debut in this preseason game against Buffalo. You said you've been a fan for a long time of the Chicago Bears. There have been some great players who have worn a Chicago Bears uniform. Do you have a Mount Rushmore for Bears players, your top 3 of all time?
This is very difficult. This is very, very difficult. Chicago Bears, an incredible team, long history, some of the greatest football players of all time. I think you got to start with sweetness, right? You got to start with Walter Payton, one of the greatest running backs of all time. I think you have to go. Oh man, this is brutal. There's so many good ones. Defensively, I mean Butkus, right? He's a legend. Redefined the position. Was a menace on the field. Um, I think I'm gonna throw Hall of Famer Devin Hester in there. He was my personal Bear, and then I'm gonna kind of cheat here. I'm gonna cheat on this last one, but I'm gonna throw the entire '85 defense on the Mount Rushmore. Just the defense, obviously they redefined what defense looks like in the NFL for that generation and for future generations. I mean, if you had to pick one, you could go Singletary. You could even go the coach. You could go Ditka if you wanted. But I mean, the defense was something special. So I mean, that's my 4, and I'm sticking to it.
That's your like 430. No, it's a really good list. Former Bills defensive coordinator Leslie Frazier was a cornerback on the team that season. I believe he had six interceptions that year, so it was always fun to hear him talk about how incredible that defense was, and it's still referenced so much in the NFL still today. You said you were from Davenport, Iowa. I know that's near a town called Buffalo, Iowa. We Buffalonians and Buffalo Bills fans love to try to make connections to Buffalo as much as possible. Any connections to the Bills in Buffalo, Iowa? What do you know about the Bills?
I mean, I grew up in Buffalo, Iowa. That's where I spent obviously the first 14 years of my life, roughly. So I know a lot about Buffalo, Iowa. Not a lot about Buffalo, New York. My familiarity with the Bills was as a losing franchise. As my childhood reminds me, they went to, was it 4 straight Super Bowls?
Yeah, you're right.
And lost all of them. Bless them. With some incredible squads, right? Jim Kelly, Thurman Thomas teams, really good. Just some bad luck. Some of those years, especially. Some of the years they got just routed, but some of the years bad luck. So yeah, that's my familiarity with Buffalo. I always thought maybe I'll be a Bills fan. I live in Buffalo. I could be a bit. Couldn't do it. Couldn't do it. Couldn't deal with that futility. And I was a Bears fan. That's the kind of futility we're talking about. You lose 4 straight Super Bowls. That's if I had a collar, I'd be hot under it.
Yeah, it's tough. We know you did perform in Buffalo because WWE comes to town. What are your thoughts about performing in Buffalo? What do you think of the crowd and the people there?
I actually love Buffalo. One of my favorite cities in New York, to be honest with you. You start going into the city and things get chaotic and hectic and it's a little crazy. Going to Buffalo, New York, not so bad. People a little kinder. Snowfall is a little heavier, but I'm used to that in Iowa. We get some snow over there, so I like it. It's more my speed. It's a little more chill. It's not quite as hectic as what you think of when you think of New York, so I love it. I enjoy coming there. Always have a great time. The view is great. I mean, the arena, the fans. It's a really good time. I love it.
We know that one of the trips you made to Buffalo, you came out eating wings. Do you have any favorite wing spots in Buffalo? Did you get wings in Buffalo? Any of the trips that you've spent here?
Yes, you know what? I wish I could remember the name of the spot that I went to. Ronda Rousey actually is a big chicken wing connoisseur.
Very
She
cool.
loves them, and she had a very particular spot that was kind enough to stay open for us because Raw ends at 11 p.m. Eastern on the East Coast, and so she was kind enough to reach out to her favorite shop. They stayed open for us, and we went in and had a smorgasbord of delicious buffalo wings. But I wish I could shout out the restaurant and the guy because I can't remember the name. It was so many years ago.
We'll have to figure it out and and shout them out for you. We have Dion Dawkins, who's a left tackle on our team. He's a big WWE fan, so he had to ask you a question. Let me play the video for you.
Hey, Seth, so we play in the freezing cold here in Buffalo. WrestleMania was outside. I was there. It kind of brought back a familiar face and familiar feeling. How did you feel with performing out there in the cold? Because I know how we feel. But how did you truly feel? Is the snow really snow? Or was it like, man, I had enough, body stuff on and I was good? Let me know, man.
Yeah, great question. Yeah, WrestleMania this past year, WrestleMania 40, biggest mania of all time. We were in Philadelphia outside. It was cold. Night one especially was very cold. You know what I found? I didn't mind so much. I mean, I don't know how it is for those boys, but that adrenaline's going. You're moving around. You're pumped up. I still got a great sweat in. I mean, it was not so much for me, the cold, but I think that the fans were affected by the cold because WrestleMania is a 2-night event. So second night, it was much warmer. The crowd and energy was way up through the roof compared to night one. So I don't know if that's how it is at football games. I find that when I watch, the Buffalo home games in the winter, they're out there with their shirts off and their bellies painted and they're throwing snowballs and going ham. That was not the case for wrestling fans in Philadelphia night one. So the energy level was a little less, I think. They were cold. We got late into the night on that one too. So great question though.
There's something about being out in the snow, out in the elements, playing football. You spoke about the fans with their shirts off, going wild. We heard you want WrestleMania in the snow. How about the new Bills Stadium being the site for WrestleMania in 2026 when the stadium opens?
Ooh, stadium opens in 26. I would be in love with some WrestleMania in the snow. That's what I was hoping we would get last year. It was cold, no snow. If you get the snow, then you get the aura, then you got people playing around and it might have been a good time. But yeah, I would love to do that. I mean, I'm sure that new stadium is going to be gorgeous. The ones they build now are just state of the art, out of control, amazing. And so, I mean, who knows? We're always hopping in these new stadiums first for big events. So we'll see what happens.
We see athletes a lot of the time crossover with sports, and we've started to see, at least with the Bills, former WWE athletes and former Olympic medalist wrestlers crossover into the NFL. I'm speaking of Gable Stevenson, who the Bills picked up this offseason. What was your reaction when you found out an Olympic gold medaler and a former WWE wrestler was being signed by an NFL team?
I'm always amazed at the transition of the skill set, right? I go, this guy, Gable Stevenson, right? He's an elite athlete, came to WWE, worked out in a performance center for a number of years. Elite athlete, elite. I mean, nothing but good reports from his athleticism, from what he was able to do out there. But the fact that he's able to just go from high level Olympic wrestling right into Buffalo Bills camp is bonkers to me. I mean, I just, my skill set don't transition like that. You took me out of the WWE, you put me in a training camp, all my bones would be broken to dust. So I'm always amazed at the ability of these types of athletes that, are just at the very tip top to be able to transition in and out of sports like that. Whether he makes the roster and how much he plays remains to be seen. But the fact that he's even there in camp working on it, that's impressive to me. So looking forward to him. Nothing but love for the guy. Great kid. Met him a few times, and I hope the best.
Well, don't doubt yourself, though. I mean, you're a 5-time WWE World Champion. I think you could make it in the NFL. If you had to play a position, which one would it be? I'm
a quarterback, baby.
Ooh.
I'm a leader. Yeah, I'm a leader. I get out there. I call the shots. I'm a visionary. That's what they call me that for a reason. I'll work on my cannon arm, but I'll be able to read the field. I'll be able to put people where I want with my eyes. I'll be throwing that Matt Stafford no look pass. I'll be doing it all.
All right, we've got just a couple more for you. We've got to ask you about 16-time world champion John Cena. He announced that he's retiring just a few weeks ago. What can we expect for the retirement tour?
If I know John as well as I think I do, this next year, it sounds like it's going to be 2025 is going to be a special year for John Cena. He is not the type to do things small. He is not the type to be understated. If you've seen anything John's ever done in WWE, or if you've watched any of his movies, for example, you know that John is larger than life and he is a big personality. And I imagine he is going to want to have his last year be his best year. So I'm looking forward to seeing what John brings to the table for the next year. Still in incredible shape. It's going to be a great time. Hope I can get back in the ring with him at least one more time before he hangs him up.
That would be so awesome. Seth, you've got your own wrestling school. It's called Black and Brave Academy. Why did you open something like that to help the younger generation of wrestlers?
Yeah, we're celebrating 10 years. We actually just finished up the 10 years of our wrestling school. And 10 years ago, there was a huge void. There was no wrestling schools that were reputable, that were teaching kids how to do things the right way. There was no pathway to go into the independent scene, aside from just learning from an apprentice somewhere, apprenticing with a veteran wrestler somewhere, which is how I broke in back in 2004. And so it's one of those things where it's like there was a huge hole, a huge need. Now you look around and you see all these incredible wrestling schools. Cody Rhodes has got his own wrestling school. You've got Ty Dillinger and Tyler Breeze down in Florida. They have a great wrestling school. There's a few more kind of plopped around. But there are wrestling schools all over the place. And so I'm happy to say that we are pioneers in that field, really put our foot down, made a stamp on the map. And I wanted to do it in the Midwest. I wanted to do it in my home. I wanted to do it where I broke in so that I could help facilitate those Midwest independent wrestling promotions and help give them the talent to continue to grow and to keep the business healthy.
Well, we know you're busy getting healthy right now, but what's going on in your life? What's next for Seth Rollins?
Oh, man, I'm just trying to be a good dad, good husband, enjoy my daughter growing up. She's 3.5 years old right now. She's easily the light of my life. Both of them are really. And then just focusing on my career and trying to enjoy, look, I'm not at the end. I got a long way to go, but I'm definitely closer to the end than I was in the beginning. 38 years old now. But I think just really trying to enjoy what I get to do for a living. I get to go out and perform in front of the best fans in the world. I get to put smiles on people's faces. I get to laugh. I get to travel. Get to help young guys, who want to get to, the top. And so I'm just trying to enjoy myself. Put in a lot of hard work to get to this point, and now I'm trying to maybe take a step back and smell the roses a little bit.
Definitely. I think 38 years young. There's no 38 years old here. You're still doing what you're doing, and it's amazing that you can do that at 38. Hey, at 38, a lot of NFL players are deciding to say bye to the sport, and rightfully so, because they've put a lot of wear on their bodies and they've made their money, but it's awesome to see you doing what you're doing at 38. But before we let you go, the question of the day for you. Give us your hottest take about the Bears and Caleb Williams this season.
Hottest take? My hottest take is that we're going to win a playoff game. I think we're going to win at least one playoff game. That's the high end of the stick, right? But I'll give it a take. I think all things going well, we stay healthy. The kid stays on track. I think we push some teams come January, and I think we win a playoff game. That's my hot Bears take. So a lot of people are saying we're going to be third in the North. I say, I say we're either a wild card team or we're going to win that division and we're going to take a playoff game. That's my big prediction.
Wow, I like it. Hey, from 3-14 2 years ago to 7-10 last year, winning a playoff game, it seems like a natural progression. You do have a tough division, though.
Very tough. Unfortunately, Green Bay is still good after all these years. We really thought they were going to be awful last year. Here they are, back with another stud quarterback. God bless. And Detroit, man, happy for Detroit. They're at least a feel-good story, right? Many, many years of futility. Now they've turned it around. Minnesota's the crapshoot. We'll see what J.J. McCarthy or what's the Jets quarterback that's playing there now? I forget his name. Sam Darnold. Yeah, whoever's taking the snaps in Minnesota, you don't know. You got Justin Jefferson, but you don't know. You don't know what that team brings to the table. Great division, toughest division in football, and we're going to sit at the top of it, bear down. I guarantee it. Let's go.
All right, Seth Freakin Rollins, everybody, 5-time WWE World Champion. Thanks so much for giving us your Bears takes and talking to us about this preseason game and everything going on in your life. We really appreciate it.
Don't think I've ever been so excited for a preseason game in my life. Let's rock and roll, man.
You sound like a true Bears fan.